So today we'll discuss some important properties of correlation coefficient. Till now we discussed the methods to find correlation coefficient using two different formulae which can give us the correlation coefficient of various types of sets of data that we are given. So today we'll discuss some very important properties of correlation coefficient. The first property is that correlation coefficient lies between -1 and +1. That is, -1 is less than equal to r is less than equal to 1, or r is greater than equal to -1 and less than equal to 1, where r is the correlation coefficient. So this should have an extra additional benefit for all of us. So suppose in a exam you are given to find the correlation coefficient of a different of some set of data. So after you get your answer, if your answer is less than -1 or greater than +1, then you should automatically know that your answer is wrong, because the correlation coefficient can never be less than -1 or greater than +1. So in exam, if you are solving a problem for correlation coefficient and if you get your answer that is less than -1 or greater than +1, then you automatically know that your answer is wrong and you have made some mistake in your calculation. So if two variables are perfectly negatively uh, related, then the correlation coefficient is said to be -1. If the two variables are just negatively related, then the correlation coefficient will lie between -1 and 0. If the two variables are uncorrelated or there is zero correlation, then the value of r will be 0, or the value of correlation coefficient will be 0. And if two variables are perfectly related to each other, then the value of correlation coefficient will be 1. That means the two variables are perfectly positively correlated. And if the two variables are just positively correlated, then the value of the correlation coefficient will lie between uh, 0 and +1. Now let's say let's try to prove this property. Suppose to do that, we start with by taking the sum of squares of a certain value. We will take that value randomly. So we suppose we randomly take this value x minus x bar divided by sigma x plus minus y bar divided by sigma y. So first of all, what does this sign plus minus mean? We have written plus minus here, means this value as this has two values in it. First, where we add these two, and second when we where we subtract this from this. So one will be x minus x bar divided by sigma x plus y minus y bar divided by sigma y, and the other will be x minus x bar divided by sigma x minus y bar divided by sigma y. Just for our convenience, to make our work easier and faster, we operate this simultaneously. We will do this together, and later on when we have to do it differently, we will separate it. So we can either do it differently, we can either do it separately, we can either do it one separately for addition and one separately for subtraction, or we can just put this plus minus sign here and do it simultaneously. That will make our work very easy. So first what we do, we square this value. We know that the square of any value is always greater than equal to 0. Your square of any value cannot be negative, because the square of even negative numbers are also positive themselves. So when we square it up, this value will become greater than equal to 0. And now if we sum the square of this value, sum all the square of these values, all the values of x and y, we sum it, we square this expression and we sum it up for all the values of x and y. We will still this expression will still be positive, because when we add all the values that are positive or equal to 0, the entire value it still is greater than equal to 0, or it is still is 0 or positive. I repeat, since this expression is positive, when we add sum it up for all the values of x and y, it will still be positive, because it will be a sum of positive numbers or 0. So the addition of all the positive values or 0 will still be 0 or positive. So we can write it as write it to be greater than equal to 0. We derive this from our by inferring to the fact that the sum of squares of any number is always greater than equal to 0. We can simply remember it: the sum of squares of any number is always greater than equal to 0. Oh, so I hope it is clear to you. I repeat it again: the sum of squares of any value or any variable is always greater than equal to 0. So now the second step, what we will do is we will just expand this whole square sign. Let's take this as a, let's take this as b. So a plus b whole square and a minus b whole square is what we have to find here. When we expand this, it becomes a square plus b square plus minus 2ab. So a square plus b square plus 2ab will hold when we take the positive sign here, and a square plus b square minus 2ab will hold when we take the negative sign here. So we can write it as summation of x minus x bar divided by sigma x whole square plus y minus y bar divided by sigma y whole square plus minus 2x minus x bar by sigma x and y minus y bar by sigma y, bracket closed, and this will again be greater than equal to 0 from following this equation. We have changed nothing, we have just expanded it. Now we open the bracket here for summation. So summation of a plus b can always be written as summation of a plus summation of b. So now we sum it up, we open the bracket, so summation of these will be equal to summation of this plus summation of this plus minus summation of this. So we can write it as summation of x minus x bar divided by sigma x whole square plus summation of y minus y bar divided by sigma y whole square plus minus 2 is constant, so 2 comes out of the summation. Summation x minus x bar into y minus y bar divided by sigma x into sigma y is greater than equal to 0. By the way, sigma x and sigma y, as we all know, are the standard deviations of x and y respectively. Now the next step, what we do, we divide the entire thing by n. So dividing both sides by n, we take this, since sigma x and sigma y are also constant, because standard deviation is a definite value, we can take it out, we can also take it out from the summation sign. So we take it out and we can write this as, and we, since we are also taking it out from the square, we can write it as 1 divided by sigma x square into, since we are dividing the thoroughly by 1 by n, into 1 by n into summation of x minus x bar whole square, whatever remains from here. Plus similarly we take out sigma y square from the summation 1 by sigma y square into, we are dividing everything by 1 by n, so we also have 1 by n here, into 1 by n, I'm sorry, we are dividing everything by n and not 1 by n, we are dividing everything by n or multiplying everything by 1 by n. So 1 by sigma square y into 1 by n into summation y minus y bar whole square, again only this will remain inside the summation, plus minus again 2, this sigma x sigma y also comes out, 2 divided by sigma x sigma y into 1 by n, since again this will be divided by n, we'll have 1 by n here, into x minus x bar, here we'll have one summation, I'm sorry, the summation sign is missing here, you'll have to add a summation sign, into 1 by n summation x minus x bar into y minus y bar. Here I'm sorry, here one summation sign is missing, so please add the summation sign, is greater than equal to 0 divided by n will still be 0. So we'll get this after dividing everything by n. So now this is the formula for standard deviation of x, this is the formula for standard deviation of y, and this would be the formula for covariance of x and y. Here I'm sorry, again the summation sign is missing, please add the summation sign yourself, I repeat, or else everything will be a mistake. Now this becomes sigma x, so we have 1 by sigma square x into sigma square x, plus since this is the formula for variance, I'm very sorry, this is the formula for variance of x, this is the formula for variance of y, and this is the formula for covariance of x and y. So 1 by sigma square x into variance can be written as sigma square x, plus 1 by sigma square y into variance of y can be written as sigma square y, plus minus 2 divided by sigma x sigma y, this can be written as covariance of x and y is greater than equal to 0, or we cancel these 1 plus we cancel this, again 1 plus minus, we write the plus minus from here, 2 into covariance of x and y divided by sigma x sigma y is greater than equal to 0. Now we know covariance of x and y divided by sigma x and sigma y is the correlation between two variables, that is the correlation between x and y. So we add this up, we get 1 plus 1 2, we write plus minus here, plus minus this we write as r, since this is the correlation coefficient, so 2 plus minus 2r is greater than equal to 0. Now we operate this plus minus separately, first we will take the plus, so 2 plus 2r is greater than equal to 0, we take two other side, we'll have 2r is greater than equal to minus 2, or r is greater than equal to minus 1. Now we again take the negative sign, 2 minus 2r is greater than equal to 0, or minus 2r is greater than equal to minus 2, we take this to the other side. Now when we multiply both side by minus, we will have to interchange this sign from greater than equal to less than equal to. It is a rule of inequality sign. If we multiply both side by minus, we will have to invert this greater than equal to sign to less than equal to sign. So 2r is less than equal to 2 or r is less than equal to 1. So from here we have r is greater than equal to minus 1, and from here we have r is less than equal to 1. So hence it is proved that the correlation coefficient or r lies between minus 1 and plus 1. I again repeat, I forgot to add a sigma sign here or summation sign here, so you please add a summation sign here, and we have the proof of our first property, that is the correlation coefficient lies between minus 1 and plus 1. Now for the second part, we move on to the second property, that that says that the correlation coefficient is independent of change of origin and scale. So for standard deviation we have done that the correlation coefficient is independent of change of origin but not of scale, but in case of correlation coefficient it is independent of both change of origin and scale. So alternatively we can say that if x and y are the given variables and they are transformed to new variables u and v by the change of origin and scale, such that u is equal to x minus a divided by h and v is equal to y minus b divided by k, where a, b, h and k are constants and h is greater than 0, k is greater than 0, then correlation coefficient between x and y is same as the correlation coefficient between u and v, that is rxy is equal to ruv. What does it mean? We have two variables given x and y. Suppose we change the we define a new variable u such that u is equal to x minus a divided by h, where a denotes a change in origin and h denotes a change in scale, and we transform y into a new variable v such that v is equal to y minus b divided by k, uh, such that b is the change in origin and k is the change in scale. Then the correlation coefficient of x and y will be equal to the correlation coefficient between u and v. So this is the basic property that we may need to make our calculations a lot more easier in the coming few sums that we will be dealing in the next few videos. So let us go to the proof of this. As given, let us take x and y to be two variables and they are transformed to new variables u and v by changing origin and scale such that u is equal to x minus a divided by h, v is equal to y minus b divided by k. We change the origin of x by subtracting a from it and change the scale by dividing it by h. Again we change the origin of y by subtracting b from it, and we change the scale of it by dividing it by k. Now we have to prove that the correlation coefficient between x and y will be same as the correlation coefficient between u and v. So u as we have taken as x minus a divided by h and v we have taken as y minus b divided by k. Now we cross multiply it and we express it in terms of x. We get x is equal to u into h, hu, a goes the other side, it becomes plus a. So x is equal to hu plus a, and similarly y is equal to kv plus b. We cross multiply it and we take b to the other side, it becomes kv plus b. We take it as equation 1 and we take it as equation 2. From here we can take the mean of it. We take the mean of the entire thing, so x bar becomes, by the principle of mean, x bar will be equal to hu plus a. Since x is a variable, we will put a bar on it. U is a variable, we will take the mean of it. Since h and a are constant, it won't be affected. Again we take the mean of y, so y bar will be equal to k v bar plus b, where y bar is the mean of y and v is the mean of v bar is the mean of v. So subtracting 3 from 1, we will subtract this from this, and 4 from 2, we will subtract this from this. X minus x bar will be equal to hu plus a minus hu minus a. So hu plus a minus hu bar minus a. So we subtracted this from this, simple. And again we subtract this from this, so y minus y bar becomes equal to kv plus b minus kv bar minus b. So kv plus b minus kv bar minus b. So again from this, a and a gets cancelled. Hu minus hu bar, we take h common, it will become h into u minus u bar. So x minus x bar is equal to h into u minus u bar. And similarly from here, b gets cancelled, k we can take as common, it will become y minus y bar is equal to k into v minus v bar. So we have the values of both x minus x bar and y minus y bar in terms of u and v. So we know that the formula for correlation coefficient is given by r is equal to summation of x minus x bar into y minus y bar divided by under root summation x minus x bar whole square into summation y minus y bar whole square. Okay, so putting the values of x minus x bar and y minus y bar, we get r is equal to summation, we put the values of x minus x bar and y minus y bar, s minus h into u minus u bar, summation h into u minus u bar into k into v minus v bar divided by under root summation h into u minus u bar whole square into, here it should be a summation. Again I'm sorry, I forgot to missed it here. Here you should write a summation sign, k into v minus v bar whole square. I'm sorry, again you will have a summation sign here, you will have to add it yourself. So we just put the values of x minus x bar and y minus y bar in this formula. Please remember to add a summation sign here. So from here h and k are constant, so it goes out of the summation sign. So it comes out of the summation sign. So h into k into summation u minus u bar into v minus v bar divided by under root, again h is under root summation h square into u minus u bar whole square into, again you will have a summation here, I forgot to write a summation k square into v minus v bar whole square. We are taking h and k outside the square sign. Now since h and k again here are constant, we can take it out of the summation sign. It will be equal to h into k summation u minus u bar into v minus v bar divided by under root h square into k square into summation u minus u bar whole square into, again I forgot to write a summation here, you will have to write the summation in everything, summation v minus v bar whole square. This h square k, when it comes out of under root, it becomes hk, so it will become hk into summation u minus u bar into v minus v bar divided by this comes out hk under root summation u minus u bar whole square into under root, here again you will have to write an under root v minus v bar whole square. So hk and hk gets cancelled. Summation this will be equal to summation u minus u bar into v minus v bar divided by under root summation u minus u bar whole square into summation v minus v bar whole square. You will also have to write summation here. So this is the formula of R u v. So correlation coefficient between x and y, here this is the correlation coefficient between x and y. So rxy is equal to r uv. So we can write as rxy is equal to r uv. So when we started from the correlation coefficient between x and y, we ended with the correlation coefficient between u and v. So I have made certain mistakes here with, actually I missed putting in the summation sign couple of places here, so that you'll have to do it yourself. Please don't miss it or your entire sum will be wrong. Please remember to add it wherever I have instructed through the video. And we'll do this much for today. For the next video we'll solve some more problems for correlation coefficient. Thank you.